guys, so this week I thought I would bring you another edition of Authors I Am Trying to Read Completely Part 2. I did this first video about a month ago and you guys seemed to really like it, so I thought I would continue on because there are a lot of authors I am trying to read their complete bibliographies. So to start with is George Orwell. Now I have read 3.5 of his books. I'm gonna give it a half because I'm not sure I actually finished it. But I have read Animal Farm, 1984, and Keep the Aspitra Flying. The half one is The Road to Wigan Pier, which I had to read for a British history class. So I read that in my second year of university. No, my first year of university. It was a second year course. But I'm not sure I actually finished it, so I kind of want to revisit it. And this is more non-fiction as opposed to the other 3 works, which are fiction. The other ones that I own are a collection of his essays and Burmese Days. So those are the ones I'm mostly focusing on finishing. I like George Orwell a lot. His social commentary kind of interests me, but I can only take it in small doses. The last one I read, Keep the Aspitra Flying, was really well written. It was a bit hard to get through because the main character was so unlikable and it dealt so much with social class issues at the, you know, Industrial Revolution era, kind of turn of the century. I'm actually not sure of Orwell's dates. Hang on. I'm gonna quickly look at the colophon. 1937. So like, you know, beginning of World War I, World War II, like in between that area. Yeah, so I do like George Orwell, but I can take him in small doses. So another author is The Chrysalids by John Wyndham, and the first book that I have is The Chrysalids. I read this when I was about 10, and I didn't fully understand the whole concept of like post-apocalyptic, the whole Cold War aspect behind it. So I reread this book a few times. It does really bother me that while it looks the same, it is significantly smaller than the rest of the books that I own in just the publishing, but I am on the lookout for a proper sized Chrysalids because this is one of my favorite books. Other books that I have read by him are The Day of the Triffids, which is about basically most John Wyndham things. It's speculative fiction. It's Cold War speculative fiction, which is really interesting. It kind of deals a little bit with all the like tensions that are arising around the Cold War. The Kraken Wakes, which deals with aliens and an alien invasion, but like sea aliens, and it's really interesting as to like what we would do if aliens did actually invade. So I have read that one, and I've also read Chalky by him, which once again deals with alien invasion. Basically a young boy who's 11 develops an imaginary friend, or what his parents think is an imaginary friend, and they think that he's a bit old to be having an imaginary friend, but it turns out that it's actually an alien. And this one's really good. This is probably the weakest one of all the ones that I've read, but I still really enjoyed it. So I still have to read The Midwich Cuckoos, which I'm not quite sure what it's about, but I do love the design for that. And I also have The Trouble with Lichen, which what is it? What appealed this to me? But Diana sees an opportunity to overturn the male status quo by using the lichen to inspire a feminist revolution. That's the main reason why I bought that, and probably why this is going to be the next John Wyndham that I read. I really enjoy John Wyndham. I've been reading him for years. I kind of take a slower pace with him as well, same with like Orwell, just because I don't want to run out of materials. There are a lot of other books that I need to pick up for the rest of his bibliography, but these are just the ones that I currently own. And, oh, my little stack of books just fell. The last author, and I use this term loosely because I'm using the term to deal with a whole collection of authors, and that is the Bronte sisters. I am trying to read their complete bibliography. So I've successfully read all of Anne Bronte. She only published 2 novels, so The Tenant of Wildfell Hall and Agnes Grey. I have a this was the only nice copy of Agnes Grey, and it comes packaged with The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which is really disappointing, but you know, somebody publish a nice version of Agnes Grey, please. Love Anne Bronte. She is fantastic. Read her. She is just completely and utterly amazing. I have also read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I can't remember if Emily Bronte published anything else. I feel like this might have been her only work. I know Charlotte published a few, but Emily, maybe only this one? I need to look into that. And I have read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Read this a really long time ago when I was, I want to say, in high school, and I did not enjoy it very much. I do want to give it a second chance because I am fond of doing that with books I read in high school, because I just had such a horrible, horrible, horrible English department at my high school. So I did give Wuthering Heights a chance, and while I do see some of its redeeming qualities, I do find it very problematic in terms of the, you know, male-female relationships portrayed. But yeah, so Jane Eyre is another one I need to give a reread to. But the next one I'm planning on reading is Villette by Charlotte Bronte, and actually I just finished Mary Barton, for those of you who watched my last video and saw what I was in the process of reading. So Villette is the next one on my list to read. So I'll be reading this in the next week or so. There might be a review video next weekend, so we will see. But yeah. I also have to read Shirley and the Professor by Charlotte Bronte. So those two, I haven't ordered them yet. I don't own them yet. But as soon as I finish Villette, they'll probably get bumped up in the queue for ordering, because I try not to have too many unread books by the same author at the same time. I try and keep that fairly low. But yeah, so that is the second part of my authors I am reading completely in a, I don't know how many parts there are going to be to this series, because there are a lot of authors I am reading the entire bibliography of. And I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye.